Let's talk to Andrew Montford, Director of Net Zero Watch, though, because it would appear, Andrew, that the net zero story is still got some way to go. It looks like, to me anyway, very good morning to you, there's a massive feud going on inside of the powers that be inside of Downing Street. You know, you've got sort of Ed Miliband and his band on one hand, and then you've got the sort of pragmatists, if you like, perhaps led by the Tony Blairites, who are all trying to stop it from happening.
Morning, Mike. Yeah, that's very much my impression, that there is a division in the Labour Party.
Yeah.
Ed Miliband, as we've said before, is a fanatic, and he really wants to continue down the net zero road, regardless of the costs or the impact on the economy or society. But there are some rather more realistic people, or people who have become more realistic, perhaps, who are really wondering whether we can continue like this. I mean, the bad economic news keeps coming. We've had there's a major pottery in the Midlands has gone bust just yesterday. We've had Grangemouth closing. There's been no growth really in the UK economy since we signed up to the Climate Change Act in 2008. So it's a very bad situation, and I think there are people now in Labour who are going, we are going to have to change direction. So this thing with Tony Blair speaking out about it and saying that something needs to change, I think is quite important. It may be that this is giving Keir Starmer a little bit of room to change direction. I'm not sure, though. It may just be that he's saying we need to do net zero, but to do it differently, which I think would be a mistake. You read the rest of the report. Blair's remarks came in a foreword to a report that his institute had produced. You actually read the body of the report, and it's still full of the usual sort of alarmist, we're all going to die in a climate fireball kind of stuff.
Yeah. But this is the thing. I mean, and also what we know, for example, after that climate summit they had, energy summit the other day, there's some kind of net zero Euro plan, which we're going to sign up to, which will include, I think, Britain getting on a sort of collision course with Donald Trump, because we'll be signing up again to the Paris Accords.
Yeah, I mean, this is all very disturbing, isn't it? And there's also the concern that as soon as the local elections are done, Keir Starmer is going to sign us up to the EU emissions trading scheme. At the moment, we have our own emissions trading scheme, which the major advantage of, if you can imagine such a thing in an emissions trading scheme, it's a bit cheaper than the EU one.
Right.
So what will happen is, if we sign up to the EU one, we are going to suddenly get an increase in our energy bills. And, that at the moment is going to be an absolute disaster. We really can't afford any more price increases. But Starmer appears to be being pushed in this direction. So, I guess the pragmatists don't have the upper hand as yet. I certainly think Labour is quite they are divided, and from what I hear, the new intake of MPs are very green. So it may be that Starmer actually feels a bit exposed here and doesn't feel that he can go too fast.
Yes, although the unions are out and about this morning on May Day, the Unite Union certainly saying, there's no job prospects coming here. All of this nonsense that Starmer talks about, 600,000 jobs being created, they haven't created one yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the unions, I think, are going to be quite helpful to the cause, if you like, of putting the UK back on a more realistic energy path. Yeah. As you say, we've had Unite speaking out about it just today. Earlier in the week, the GMB were also speaking out. So I think this is extremely important, because obviously they put a lot of money the way of the Labour Party. And, if there is a threat that might dry up if they don't start behaving more sensibly, then I think that will concentrate minds in the Labour hierarchy. But, I think overall, I would still be concerned that even if they do change now, is it just too late? That it's going to take so long to fix the energy mess we're in, that, the rest of our manufacturing base will be gone. I mean, essentially, the unions should have spoken up 10 years ago.
Yes, exactly right. I mean, I was reading a story this morning about a firm in the sort of potteries district around Stoke-on-Trent, which has had to shut down today simply and purely because they can't afford to run the factory anymore because the energy prices are so sky high that they've literally, run the risk of going under. I'll just try and find the tweet and see if I can find out who it is. Stoke-on-Trent's world-famous Moorcroft pottery firm has gone bust. In a place called Burslem, citing sky-high energy prices for firing its ceramic products and Labour's national insurance hike. So it's another victory for Rachel Thieves, by the looks of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the problem for manufacturing. It's a double whammy, for all of them. It's the energy and it's the national insurance. And so, yeah. And if it gets worse, the energy prices look like they're going to get worse over the next few years.
Yeah.
Then what hope do they have? If you were running a pottery, you'd probably just go, let's shut up shop now.
Yeah, exactly. Because the prices are so ridiculous. We've got the same problem in Scunthorpe with British Steel, haven't we? I mean, they really can't afford to actually run a blast furnace, even though the company's now been rescued by the taxpayer and by Jonathan Reynolds, who's now in charge of it. But they've got no way of knowing how to actually run the business with the cost that it is going to cost them every single day.
That's right. I mean, just because you've changed the ownership doesn't mean that your costs are going to change.
No.
And of course, Labour are saying we're going to transition to electric arc furnaces, which is crazy. I mean, we have the most expensive electricity in the Western world.
Yeah.
Those prices are going to go up. So the idea that we're going to have a viable steel industry running on electricity is I mean, it's insane. It's completely unreal. And of course, this is the problem: is that Ed Miliband doesn't think rationally about this. He just thinks he's got net zero, and so we will get these crazy ideas, and if they ever try them, they will crash and burn.
Yeah, I'm afraid that looks like what we're going to be doing to the economy anyway, with the business killer, Rachel Reeves. Andrew, very good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed, Andrew Montford, the Director of Net Zero Watch.